You don't just listen to rap music. Not really. You use it. You reach for it the way people reach for a specific mood when they don't know how to say what they feel out loud. You put it on when you're walking somewhere alone, when you're getting ready to face people, when you're angry and you don't want to look angry, when you're hungry for confidence you don't fully feel yet. And if you've ever caught yourself playing the same track on repeat, like you're trying to hypnotize your own nervous system, you already understand the psychology behind it. Rap isn't only sound, it's self regulation, identity, and survival language dressed up as entertainment. Rap is also not some niche corner of culture anymore, no matter what anyone's personal taste says. It's one of the dominant musical languages of the streaming era. On Spotify, hip hop accounted for nearly a quarter of all streams globally in 2023. In the United States, industry reporting tied to Luminate's year-end data has described R&B and hip hop as the most streamed core genre, sitting at roughly 1 in every 4 streams, with a 25.3% share in 2024. That's not just popularity, that's influence. When that much listening happens, it means rap is meeting psychological needs at scale, and music has psychological functions, whether you admit it or not. A widely cited research review on why people listen to music found that listeners commonly use music to regulate mood and arousal, to support self awareness, and to express social relatedness. If you want the cold, clinical translation of that, it's this: you press play to change your internal state, to understand who you are, and to feel connected to something bigger than your own head. Rap just happens to be unusually effective at those jobs for certain people because it combines rhythm, narrative, identity signaling, and a bluntness that many other genres soften. There's a reason rap can feel like it's speaking directly into your chest. It's because it's often built around voice, confession, threat, swagger, grief, humor, and detail. Rap doesn't always float, it often lands. It's poetry that refuses to whisper. Even when you can't relate to the exact story, different city, different background, different era, you can still relate to the emotional architecture, the need to matter, the fear of being disrespected, the hunger to rise, the dread of falling back, the loneliness that gets hidden behind bravado. And that's the first major reason people listen to rap. It gives language to emotions that feel too sharp or too complicated for polite conversation. If you've ever felt a kind of anger that didn't have anywhere to go, rap can act like a pressure valve, not because it creates anger, but because it gives anger a form. It names it, frames it, and sets it inside a beat that keeps it from spilling everywhere. That's emotion regulation, and it's one of the most common reasons humans use music in general. The eerie part is realizing how often you might be using rap to keep yourself from breaking character in public. You put on a track that sounds hard because you need to feel protected. You borrow someone else's intensity because yours feels too naked. But rap doesn't only regulate anger, it regulates confidence. That's not a metaphor, it's what a lot of listeners are doing in real time, using rap to tune their self image before stepping into the world. When you play certain songs while you're getting dressed, walking into work, lifting weights, or trying to push through exhaustion, you're not just enjoying music. You're building a temporary identity state, something that feels more durable than your raw emotions. And rap is uniquely suited for that because it so often centers mastery, status, power, and resilience. Even when the lyrics are exaggerated, your nervous system doesn't always care. It cares about how you feel while listening. It cares about whether you walk taller. If you want proof that this isn't just armchair talk, recent qualitative research on hip hop listeners found that people described selecting hip hop to regulate emotions and to feel cognitively stimulated, and the study highlighted how listeners use hip hop as part of identity formational practices. In other words, listeners weren't just saying, I like the sound, they were describing rap as something they use to think, to feel, and to become. And identity is a huge part of this. Rap is a genre where who I am is often the point. The voice in the song is not pretending to be anonymous, it's saying loudly, this is me. Even when the me is a persona, it's still identity work. So when you choose rap, you're often choosing a mirror. Sometimes it's a mirror that reflects your real life. Sometimes it's a mirror that reflects the person you want to be. Either way, it's not passive. That's why rap can feel like belonging, not the shallow kind of belonging where you just wear the right brand, but the deeper kind where you hear a pattern of speech, a rhythm, a humor, a worldview, and your body recognizes it as familiar. Music is a social signal, and rap is one of the strongest social signals in modern culture because it's tied to style, language, and identity in a way many genres aren't. And the broader psychology of music listening consistently supports the idea that people use music to express social relatedness, to feel connected, to locate themselves in a tribe. When you play rap in your car or in your headphones, sometimes you're not only listening for yourself, you're telling yourself where you belong. Now let's go darker, because the nice version of this explanation misses the part you already know if you're honest. Rap also lets you safely touch forbidden feelings: greed, revenge, dominance, paranoia, lust, the desire to be feared, the desire to be untouchable, the desire to never be embarrassed again. These are human feelings, but most people can't admit to them without risking their social identity. Rap lets you experience them through someone else's voice. It gives you a controlled space to visit the parts of yourself you would rather deny. That's not corruption, that's containment. It's similar to how horror movies let people experience fear in a safe setting. The content can be extreme, but the function can be regulation, and that's why rap can feel addictive for some people. Not in the clinical sense, but in the "this works so well it becomes my default medicine" sense. When you discover a genre that can instantly shift your mood, you start using it the way people use caffeine, scrolling, nicotine, or late night snacks. You reach for it without thinking. You let it manage you, and if you're not careful, you can forget what you feel without it. That's not a rap problem. That's a human problem. When something reliably changes your inner state, your brain starts treating it like a tool for survival. Rap also has a unique relationship with storytelling. A lot of mainstream music hints. Rap often narrates. It can describe a scene with names, streets, consequences, and moral complexity. That narrative detail matters psychologically because stories help us make meaning out of chaos. Even if the story isn't your life, your brain learns from it. It rehearses social dynamics: loyalty, betrayal, ambition, humiliation, love, loss, paranoia, and hope. You're practicing emotions at a safe distance, the same way people practice danger through fiction. That's why rap can feel real, even when it's exaggerated. It's not always factual reality, it's an emotional reality. And sometimes the draw is not emotion, but cognition. Some listeners don't come to rap for comfort at all. They come for stimulation: dense rhyme schemes, layered references, wordplay, double meanings, cultural callbacks, internal rhymes that hit like puzzle pieces snapping into place. That kind of listening turns music into a mental sport. The same qualitative hip hop listener research described people wanting cognitive stimulation from hip hop, not just mood management. If you're someone who listens closely, who rewinds bars, who catches hidden references, you're not just consuming music, you're solving it. And that creates a different kind of pleasure: mastery. Now let's address the tension you've probably felt if you're a rap listener, the way people judge you for it. Rap still carries stereotypes, and those stereotypes often come from fear. Fear of what rap represents, fear of the communities it came from, fear of the emotions it doesn't sanitize. When someone says rap is too aggressive or too vulgar, sometimes they're reacting to content. Sometimes they're reacting to what the content symbolizes, because rap is not only music, it's a cultural force that has challenged norms about race, class, power, and respectability. That makes people uncomfortable, and discomfort often disguises itself as moral judgment. But there's another tension, and it's internal. Sometimes you listen to rap because it makes you feel powerful, and then you take the headphones off and your life still feels small. That contrast can sting. It can make you want to keep listening just to avoid the drop. It can also inspire you. It can push you to work harder, to build something, to change your circumstances. The same music can be escapism and fuel depending on what you do with the feeling afterward. The psychology isn't in the song alone, it's in the loop between the song and your life. If you're listening from any English speaking country, you've probably noticed another eerie thing. Rap travels. It translates. Not because every lyric makes sense everywhere, but because the emotional themes are portable. Ambition, identity, grief, defiance, status, struggle, humor, survival. When a genre becomes globally dominant on platforms where billions of plays happen, it's not only because of marketing, it's because the genre's emotional toolkit works across borders, and the industry numbers reflect how deeply it's embedded in modern listening behavior. So, what does it say about you if you listen to rap? The honest answer is not one thing. There isn't one psychology of a rap listener, but there are patterns. You might be someone who uses music to regulate mood, to control arousal, to shift your emotional temperature on command, which aligns with what research describes as a major function of music listening. You might be someone who needs language for feelings you were never taught to express. You might be someone who wants to feel part of a tribe, or someone who wants to feel untouchable for 3 minutes at a time. You might be someone who craves cognitive complexity, or someone who craves a voice that says the things you're afraid to say. You might be someone who hears your own life in the stories, or someone who hears a life you want. And if you don't listen to rap and you're watching this anyway, ask yourself why you've avoided it. Is it taste or is it fear? Is it sound or is it stigma? Because the psychology behind rap listening is also the psychology behind rap avoidance. What kinds of emotions you allow into your body, what kinds of people you feel safe identifying with, what kinds of stories you're willing to hear without immediately judging the messenger. In the end, rap is often a technology of identity. It helps you rehearse who you are, who you could be, and who you refuse to become. It gives you a place to feel big when you feel small, to feel understood when you feel alone, to feel organized when your mind is chaotic. And the most unsettling part is realizing how intimate that relationship is. Because when you put in your earbuds and the beat starts, you're not just listening to rap, you're listening to the version of yourself that wakes up when it hears its own feelings finally given a voice.